So on March 20th, Awakening Sage receives massive changes, which are mainly related to his stamina issue, and in exchange for the benefits on his Awakening kit, they decided to remove the float from Absolute Void Gateway, which I personally think it's a good thing, because I prefer to keep things separate from Succession to Awakening kits. And so to compensate for the float removal, they added a knockback on Impaling Flash while making it slightly harder to hit your target. But at the same time, they also made it so that your Impaling Flash will still proc the damage hit, regardless of whether you hit a target or not at the end of the animation. And they also changed it, so that instead of using mana, it uses 150 stamina instead. Which is fine, I would say, and the thing with Impaling Flash is that you can mouse move it, right? So maybe you can do some pretty cool plays with it with the newly added knockback. And that's not all. They also buffed not only PV damage, but also PvP damage, which I think will make Impaling Flash very broken, because the skill not only slow you by 20% for 3 seconds on hit, but it also bypasses your forward guard and always back attack you. And this wasn't mentioned in the patch note, but they secretly sneaked in Spearbolt cancel when you use it after Impaling Flash, which I think is actually insane because it allows you to be more creative with your playstyle. The only problem is that if you run Core Spearbolt, you will have to use Flow Aftershock before canceling Spearbolt with Impaling Flash. Because if you press WF after Impaling Flash, it will attempt to use the Flow instead. And the only way to proc Flow Aftershock is by using Flow Interrogate. But you know what's really cool though? Is that if you use Spearbolt or Flow Aftershock whatever after Impaling Flash, it will dash towards where your character is facing after using Impaling Flash, and not where your camera is facing. So if you want to pull off some sick plays like Impaling Flash bait into Spearbolt knockdown, you will have to mouse move your Impaling Flash so you can Spearbolt at the right direction. And while on the topic, they also buffed Spearbolt PvP damage by 17%, which in my opinion is actually the spotlight of this patch. So for those who aren't aware, Spearbolt functions similarly to Impaling Flash, in which it can bypass your forward guard to deal damage, except the slow effect coming from it is from the summon, and not the dash attack itself. But what really separates Spearbolt from Impaling Flash is that not only Spearbolt is an instantaneous dash, but it also got a ridiculously long targeting range if you aim it right. So to put it into perspective, you guys know how Awakening Megu has that one spinning skill that does a lot of damage, right? That's mainly because the skill allows her to easily back attack you, and it has a damage modifier of 5,049 or so. Meanwhile, Spearbolt now has a 2,834 damage modifier, and its flow does even more damage. Not only that, but it's way easier to use it from a safe distance as well, and reliably trade damage, which leaves less room for a gap to catch Sage. Lightning Surge, I think, is low-key a nerf, because even though they added an iframe to it, they also removed the down smash, which is very crucial for Awakening Sage combos. So it's kind of a bummer that they just added that, because I don't see a reason to use it at all, it doesn't really serve any purpose, and it drains my stamina, so it's whatever. They also made it so that the super armor at the end of Spearbolt's animation lingers a bit longer. Flow Judgment now sort of became a standalone skill with its own damage modifiers and add-ons, even though they still put the flow in the title, which is kinda lazy. And the thing with the new damage change is that the first 3 reliable hits have a total of 7,141 damage modifier, which is actually insane damage, given how easy it is to hit it without any risk. And it also instantly teleports you behind your target as well. So it's technically a block jump ability, plus it has a slow, so your target will have a higher chance of getting hit by the second hit, which does way more damage. And the prerequisite skill of Flow Judgment also got buffed, which went from 14 seconds cooldown to 10 seconds. And it also get a slight PvP buff and a massive PvE damage buff on the second hit. This skill is an iframe skill, and it can be used to either pursue targets or escape. But what's really important about this skill is the first hit's damage. The distance that you can travel with this skill is fixed, but after you reappear when using this skill, it will let you use your cursor to aim where you can throw spears to deal AoE damage on the ground, and the spears actually travels further than where you land. So you can use this to not only easily aim and do damage, but you can also slow the target that you're chasing. And then to compensate for Void Gateway's nerf, they added a forward guard as well as the shocked slow effect on Chain Lightning. Chain Lightning has always been my favorite spell to use, even before the buff, because this skill actually guarantees a hit on whoever is in front of you, even airborne targets. Awakening Sage's grab cooldown got reduced by 2 seconds, which I think is kinda absurd from all the buffs he's getting. Like, to begin with, Awakening Sage has a whole lot of iframes and damage as well as easy access to slows, so I don't think this class even needs a grab. And the best buff of it all is the stamina buff on Bolt, which they reduces 100 stamina cost, resulting in his main movement skill costing only 100 stamina or 150 if it's on cooldown. This single change not only increasing his damage output, but also made it near impossible to catch him, because as long as he's using a damaging skill, he can keep using Bolt over and over. So now Awakening Sage can even keep up with Succession Zerk or Bladers and kill them standing. And he also has enough AoE spells to hit multiple people at range. So overall, I think the buffs made him a really strong class in all kinds of PvP contents. Although I do wish they would nerf grab cooldown to maybe 25 seconds instead,